September 6th, I think 6th, 7th, 2021. This is the America's Heartland. This is a second part. I kept watching it. Apparently, they moved from an Indiana farmer to an Ohio farmer. With this soybean, they've got some deal now with the car company Honda. There's like a whole lot of problems with the auto industry. I know everybody thinks they got a great deal going on, and now everybody's like global businessmen. But then, are they aware of like the kickback from the how many, are they doing exchange programs with exchange students? Because that's a problem. And why are they overseeing projects privately that are going to affect and have affected us all? I'm just curious to the new management system that thinks that it's got some corner market and some friends somewhere. Because the last time I checked, Japan hated us and we had sent 2 nuclear weapons according to them, which I'm not even really 100% buying. And there was something with a Pearl Harbor. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I don't know what parallel dimension. I know that there was footage, but it doesn't really have a year that's congruent and consistent. I know there's some people that exist, but I am not so sure that time and space works in the same way for everybody at this point.
Credit, a more personal loan.
To add to the mental confusion of all these new businessmen.
Henry Ford, legendary tinkerer and champion of the soybean, liked to whack his experimental car with an axe to show people just how strong a panel fabricated from soybean oil could be. He even built a car almost entirely from soybean products. And by the way, that car ran on...
I love how Henry Ford, the theoretical Henry Ford, let's say, because there's a gigantic piece of partnership and cooperation and family, whatever, behind the Henry Ford, whatever. So it's always, they always mention the one man, but whenever there's just the one man, there's a gigantic legend that goes behind it in some kind of steam engine machine. So let's just go on the theoretical, the one guy who gets all the credit, good or bad or indifferent, sealed in some kind of package envelope.
Corn ethanol. Now turn to the 21st century. In an ironic twist, a Japanese car company has brought heartland farmers and the auto industry together once again in a whole new way.
In Ohio.
I'm Don Bailey. I'm a farmer. They say the taste of the beans produced in Ohio is higher in protein. They like the taste of it better. Our climate, our soils are ideal.
All those cheerleaders.
The customers that come from Japan is the beauty of our state. They remark how beautiful it is and how wide open our fields are. Of course, the biggest problem is the language barrier.
Don Bailey is growing
That's an
some
okay
of the best
thing, let me tell
soybeans
you.
in Japan, not far from this auto plant in Marysville, Ohio. Inside the plant, some of America's most popular cars roll off the assembly line.
This major problem. For so many reasons.
The global economy gone a little haywire.
Because now you just gave them a partnership. You showed them where you live, what your lands look like. Now they have a joint product with you. And if they just want to land a flying vessel in the middle of your fields and just let out some of their business people, whatever it is that you criminal humans do every day, right? Who's to stop them now that you have such a great relationship? And where do you report that kind of problem? Which police is in charge of that now that you've taken out the middleman of the broker in the middle of it, so this way it protects the farmer, it protects the criminals elsewhere, as long as they stay elsewhere and they don't come over this way. Because it feels like a whole lot of planes are landing in airfields that nobody's watching and just letting new residents off, and nobody's stopping them.
But Bailey is part of an imaginative trade deal that's as real as the dirt under his beans. And you're probably familiar with the name that connects the crops to the cars.
No, when Honda first came in with the motorcycle plant, it was a good source of employment for folks, but I never dreamed that we would have an agricultural product exchange program with Japan through Honda.
Honda started building their cars in Marysville in 1982. That was before many people in
1982, so that's right around the Cold War. I mean, I'm no expert. I just arrived through a foxhole, through a human, in century 19, decade 7 plus 8 years. So I was just about walking in century 19, decade 8 plus 2 years. I was 4. I was more than walking by then. And they started with these shiny Honda cars rather than Fords and Chevys, is what Linda said when she was growing up. She saw Ford and Chevys. So Ohio cut out the rest of the Union in the United States and did some deal directly with Japan. Did any of us in the other 50 states, since we have some kind of a union together, did any of us get a say in whether we would approve this or not? Because I know Lynn never got an option. I know she wasn't, like, nobody came and said, hey, Lynn, this might affect you and your kids in the future because of the bad business decisions and all that great college that all these morons are sending their kids to that you didn't even get an opportunity for. So now, how does that work in the big worldwide web of dumb, fucking, and useless? I'm just curious. And where does that go into funding national security and making sure that kiddos are taught the correct history that already happened and some projections of what's in the future to protect themselves and their kids? Especially at UFO, like important things, territory. I mean, I went to school with something called a one had a last name Johnson. There's a Johnson & Johnson, big company somewhere. I went to school with something named a Reynolds. I know Ryan Reynolds made it to the big screen, but Andrew Reynolds is not anything looking like Ryan Reynolds. Let's think. So Andy Reynolds, Stephanie Johnson, there was Tara Rice, there was some Price kid, I think his name was Tom. Then there was, I don't know, there's a Carlson or Ray. Let's think. Bradley Ray, Chris Carlson. These are my name drops. There was Evan, there was a Gruber. Oh, there was a John Maynard and a John Barr. That was in a different school, though. That was in my French class with the guy who fell asleep he was French Canadian, who fell asleep at the front of the class because he worked 2 jobs. That guy, there's a John Maynard and a John Barr in that class, along with a John Rizzi and a Michael Fallon. That happened. Those were like the only important people in the class, along with myself. Well, I think there was another Scott who had short, white, blonde hair. He used to get mad. He used to play basketball. I don't know. I don't remember his last name. I gotta think about this. So I'm just curious how trapping a woman belongs to a UFO department in New York with no education, no National Guard, no Royal Guard, and no access to get out and into the marriage that she was built for. What exactly are you humans up to? I mean, it's in sitting in the middle of nowhere. It's a little hard to tell because I see a whole lot of illegal activity going on, but that seems like stuff you guys are all up to. I mean, I haven't been part of it, and I really have other things I'd rather do than to deteriorate in New York because, like, other stuff's going on. I mean, I told the valet the other night at the restaurant, when I walk on the boulevard, there's a valet that stands there and watches over the restaurant. So I stopped to speak to him. His name's Angel. And I said to him, I said, you see, not so much in the concrete that you're standing on and not so much the concrete right next door, but if you look just beyond the sections of concrete on Bell Boulevard, I was like, you'll notice there are sections that have these big black spots. Do you see them? And he's like, yeah, it's bubble gum. BUBBLEGUM. I go, no, it's not. I was like, I walk up and down several times a day this boulevard. There is nobody chewing gum. I'm looking at them. I have not seen anybody chewing gum. Once I heard a kid say he was gonna chew gum, but like it grabbed my attention for a second, and I'm like, but I walk up and down. I don't even see people chewing gum. But what they are is if you look at the filth level of the sidewalk, they're like black tar spots. It looks like somebody took a stick with a cloth and black tar and just made polka dots, like almost like the sidewalk and the set of the movie of my life at this time frame has chicken pox on the earth's surface. That's what it looks like. And I know that there's some esoteric meaning in marking time and space, but the filth level and those spots are important. So I pointed it out to one of the humans, and he was like, how do you know? And I go, I just know things. He was like, I thought it was bubble gum. I said, yeah, I hear that a lot. Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. Nicole Cattaruzza, star 1978, star 8378.